We've always had room in our hearts for film and TV, not just on Netflix, but tape and disc and theaters. Also, God forbid that they take it all away and leave us nothing to broadcast to loyal listeners. We'll binge watch every single movie, so you don't have to. What else are we here for? Coming to you every week. Listen to us while you're busy. Luckily, we forgot to grow up. Hey everybody, it's Craig.
Hey, it's Scott.
Hey, it's Andrew.
Welcome to episode number 21 of the Forgot to Grow Up podcast. Now that we're old and mature and can drink when we're on the other side of the border, for those of you who aren't in North America, that obviously means the United States. I forgot entirely where I was going with this. Episode 21, Forgot to Grow Up podcast. We're going to talk about spy movies that aren't Bond. So like 5 of them. And then we're going to cap it all off with WWWTW, or what we watched this week. Wow, our intros have gotten pretty bland. Who do I want to throw to this week? I think it's Scott's turn. It's been a while. Scott!
What's up, Craig?
Movies that aren't Austin Powers or Spy Kids, go.
Well, it was my idea to do this topic this week, and then when I went to write down some, I struggled at first.
Perfect.
But my favorite spy movie that isn't James Bond, I'd have to say, is the new Kingsman movies, the most recent, I would say, addition to the spy genre. And I really just enjoyed they're just out there. They remind me a little bit of some of the kookier Bonds, but just even ramped up to an 11. They've got that comic book kind of feel because they are based off
the
of
fact
a
that they
comic
make
book.
the ridiculous fight scenes so intense, and you're like, mm-mm.
Exactly. Well, I like
but
that.
At the same time, you're like, mm-hmm.
I'm just yeah, I like it. You're like, no, that can't really happen. But you're at the same time, you're like, I'm glad they went there anyways. I'm glad they killed a room full of people in a church. That was that was an awesome scene. That was just an enjoyable, fun scene because it's a movie, and movies are supposed to be fun sometimes. And that was they're both really fun movies for me, at least.
What I just want to see like and hate about them is the way that they're shot.
What do you mean about that?
Mean, Craig?
Like the camera, the way they do the camera angles.
Okay, I could kind of see that.
I always start off hating them every time I watch it. I always start off hating the way it's done, then by the middle of it, I'm like, man, this could not be done any other way.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't usually think about camera angles too much, but I kind of know what you mean. But I enjoy the pace of it, and like I said, it's just for me they're really fun movies. You get all the gadgets and the fun, you get to see them training a bit. They never forget the montage, and they've got gimmicks. That's my favorite thing. I like a gimmick in a movie sometimes, and the Kingsmen themselves are an organization based off of a gimmick, and then they took it even further with the Statesman in the second one, with that being a whole other gimmick. And I enjoy gimmicks. I'm curious if they'll ever come to Canada or go to Australia and see what they do.
What would
our
gimmick be? We'd be like the Timmies or something like that, and it would just be all the franchise owners for Tim Hortons or
some lumberjacks or.
Oh, that would be cool.
That'd be kind of badass if they came here, or they came here and they
have super high tech axes.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
That would be awesome.
lasers. Somehow we got to
laser
pitch
guided
Mounties who ride robot horses.
Yeah, sadly, I think they'd go straight to Mountie. That's what we're always.
We talked about this last week.
It's what we're deemed as Canadians.
For.
Yeah, that's our only law enforcement apparently.
Of any
exactly.
Kind, yep.
It's just dudes on horses with weird hats, and it's just no. Anyways, we're not getting onto that. Kingsman, I really like both those movies, and I hope they keep making more movies.
Yes. Bring back Mark Strong. I know you blew him up, but you also killed Colin Firth by shooting him in the face.
Yeah, I want them to.
So you can find a way to glue Mark Strong back together, even if you give me a
Evil
Jarvis
or just twin brother.
Yeah,
twin brother.
That or give me just Mark Strong's voice as Jarvis,
in
Iron Man.
Yeah, he programmed.
Just give me that.
He programmed an AI into the Kingsman
into
headquarters.
Eggsy's glasses or some shit.
Perfect.
I just want that.
I like that.
I love Mark Strong.
Same here. I was hoping they would do something he would grab the spoiler alert, FYI for anyone who hasn't seen the second one. When he grabs the one guy.
Throw him on top of the mine and jump away. Yes,
that seems like a very spy move to do. I was thinking that the whole time, but he just falls over with the dude or whatever. I can't remember exactly how it works, but
well, he blows up. You don't even get to
yeah.
see him. You just see pieces.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that they like.
I want a cutaway scene.
Yeah, later. Yeah.
Where you see him running through the bush, just finishing John Denver.
Yeah, I'll be down for that.
Country road, take me home.
And then you like flash later. He's just like kind of passed out in a ditch, still trying to sing it.
Yeah. Gets picked up by Halle Berry.
Yes. See.
Works for me. What else is on your list, Scott?
So next on my list I have is True Lies, because you gotta have a little Arnold.
Arnold, there we go. 21 out of 21.
And I almost forgot about this movie at first until like earlier today. I thought of it. I was like, how did I almost forget one of my favorite spy movies? Just. It's so fun. Again, like my favorite thing about spy movies is when they're fun. Like I enjoy a fun movie, and True Lies is just Arnold that is like peak in the 90s or potentially early 2000s. No, I think it was the 90s. And just at his peak of just being pure Arnold, big, muscular, saving the day.
True Lies was 1994, by the way.
Nice. Year after I was born.
Year after we were all born.
True. I don't know where to go from that. But yeah, I really it's just so fun. Like, someone else say something about True Lies.
The helicopter scene is freaking
Get into
dope.
the chopper.
Different helicopter scene.
I know. I always do get those mixed up, to be honest, though, in my memory at first. And I'm like, wait,
that
that's
scene
not the
is
right
so
one.
good.
Yeah.
That they rip it off in Bob's Burgers with a toy replica version of the helicopter scene. That's how good that scene is.
It is a really good scene. That movie in general is just really good. I just enjoy that.
If it's got Arnold, it's good. Let's be real.
We've already said that before on the podcast, that we approve of all Arnold Schwarzenegger and, for me, Jackie Chan movies. And True Lies, again, one of my favorite spy movies. I don't know really what else to say about it.
Okay, move on then.
So
what's number 3?
Number 3 I had was the Mission Impossible movies.
Okay,
they're not
all of them, or
I honestly don't remember very much about the second one, and the third one are kind of iffy. They kind of mishmash together. I really enjoy all the newest ones. Ever since Simon Pegg's joined up, I really have enjoyed it, to be honest. And the first one, of course, is like kind of a classic, modern classic.
I really hope that was it the 6th one that comes out this year.
I think so.
With Henry Cavill. I hope that's the last one, because like you can't, like, at this point it's not even Mission Impossible. It's Mission Slightly Difficult, but they're still going to find a way to get around it.
They're still going to try and figure it out. Yeah, I kind of agree. Like, they are stretching it, but at the same time, this is based off of a TV show that used to do seasons of Mission Impossible. And so
the Syndicate can suck it. They need to hurry up and finish something.
Yeah, see, that's one thing I don't really remember. That's one thing I have to like tick against them is the plot for me isn't the most memorable part of it. It's usually just some of like the kind of funny quips and some of the bigger stunt scenes, like
Ving Rhames being a total fucking badass.
Exactly, and the fact that he's sometimes the tech guy is just like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, you got the.
What was it in Mission
guy?
Impossible 5?
Yeah,
where he hacks the satellite or something like that, and I was like, no, you don't do that, man.
Wait, when did you become the tech guy? Wait, did I miss something?
You can't wear a bowler fedora and be the tech guy. That's just not how it works.
It's not the way it works. But
Ving Rhames looks like he literally just spends the whole day just sipping smoothies on the beach in Clearwater, Florida.
I feel like that's exactly what he does. I think that's exactly what he does.
Now, with his unbuttoned Hawaiian shirt, board shorts, and just looks at people and just being like, what are you doing?
What is this? What is this reference from? Because now I'm just like 100%.
This is just me looking at Ving Rhames. Like, that's just what I picture when I see Ving Rhames.
But I don't know. He seems like more of a St. Petersburg guy.
St. Petersburg, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, they're
all I know is he's kind of cheap, so he's hanging out in like the more retired areas of Florida.
Naples.
He's not a Miami,
not
bro.
Naples. Naples is expensive.
Nope. Not Talladega.
Nope. Too many racetracks.
Too many racetracks. He doesn't fly for that shit. He ain't got time for race cars. He's too busy standing on the beach
with an unbuttoned Hawaiian shirt.
With an unbuttoned Hawaiian shirt and his delicious ass booster juice smoothie.
But he takes time off to co-star in the Mission Impossible movies to get it back on track.
There we go.
Yeah. But yeah, I just really like the cast of them, and they're fun ones. I'm kind of with you. If they were to end it at 6, I'd be fine with it. But if they kept making them, I also wouldn't be too upset, because I like to see Tom Hanks getting thrown around and beaten up. Because this
Tom Cruise.
Yeah, did I say Hanks? Damn it.
Yeah.
It's my dyslexia again.
I will see anything with Tom Hanks,
Yeah.
but that's not what we're talking about.
I enjoy watching Tom Cruise in certain. I meant Tom Cruise. Anyways, I meant Tom Cruise. So I like seeing Tom Cruise. I totally got like stuck in a little circle there for a second. A little
Tom
like
Cruise.
brain
Time
loop.
loop.
Yeah,
Hanks Cruise. Yeah, you're welcome.
Who does Hank screw?
What?
Sounds like you said Hank Screws.
I know.
Anyways, Tom Cruise. I enjoy watching him run around in the Mission Impossible movies because they're the most believable, I feel, of like all the characters he does. I feel he suits Ethan Hawke, I think it is. Hunt?
Ethan Hunt.
Ethan
Hunt. Yeah, I don't know where I got Hawke.
It's definitely not Hawk.
I don't know where I got Hawke from, to be honest. Hudson Hawk. That's
Ethan Hawke is an actor, isn't he?
Maybe.
Well, let me check that.
Anyways.
Anyways.
I feel like Tom Cruise really suits that character.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just getting all the names.
That was rough.
All
That
the
was
words
rough.
Was in
mixed up.
Training Day.
Let's just move past Mission Impossible and Tom Cruise altogether.
Okay. Yes.
Do you guys want me to keep going? I've got 4 or 5 more. Okay.
Let's just finish your list.
Sounds good.
Let's get through this.
The next one I have is the Johnny English movies. I haven't seen the second one, but
Johnny
I really
English. That's
enjoyed
Mr. Bean, right?
Yes.
Yes.
It was the first time I ever saw Mr. Bean
Rowan
talk.
Atkinson.
Yeah. It was the first time I'd ever seen him talk in a movie. So that was the first thing that fascinated me about it, because I had grown up only seeing him.
You saw that before Scooby-Doo?
I think so.
What?
I'm guessing so.
Man,
Johnny
what type
English
of,
was 2003.
I feel like
Scooby-Doo
was like
2002. No,
I might have seen
the
it.
original. The original
I may have-
Scooby-Doo movie came out in 2002. Scooby-Doo 2: Monsters Unleashed came out in 2004.
Was he in the first or second one though?
the first one. He was the guy who owned the
yeah, I just didn't remember which one was which, to be honest.
He was the one who, well, actually, he was.
Yeah, I know he was
twice.
I know he was the island dude. I just didn't remember if that was the first or second movie.
It's the first movie.
Mr. Neravandius or something like that.
Mondavarius.
Okay.
There we go. I was close.
So I'd seen him, I guess, one time before. Potentially. I can't 100% guarantee I had. But this is the first starring role, I should say, that I saw him in, where he was talking the whole time in Johnny English, to get it, just so everyone knows we're back on track. And I just, again, this one was funny. This was a little bit like, to me, it was kind
Scott,
of like
before you keep going,
yes.
I have a call back to last episode. Remember when we were talking about Miguel Nunez Jr.?
Yes.
Yeah, he was in Scooby-Doo.
Hold up. Who is he?
He played Voodoo Maestro.
Yeah, he was the...
Oh my god, he did, yes. Yeah, I remember him giving tons of attitude.
Yeah. So, continue with your point.
Which seems like somebody's really good at. Anyways, continue, Scott.
I forgot where I was going. Johnny was just fun.
Sounds about right.
I seem to remember that about the movie as well.
Yeah, it reminded me a little bit of like a clean, in a sense, Austin Powers. Like, does that make sense? Like, not as kind of like filthy, fat bastardy. It was a little bit more like, yeah, I could watch this with my grandparents and get a laugh out of it, because it's a little.
It was like a British version of Get Smart.
Yeah, I guess that would make sense. I haven't seen Get Smart, but sure.
I don't know if the original Get Smart was British, but the only one I ever saw was the one with what's his face?
I just assume
Michael Scott.
Steve supposed to be
Steve
British?
Carell. We talked about this before the podcast.
Yes, I can't remember. I can't remember his name. Steve Carell.
I'm on it. Steve Carell.
Speaking of Steve Carell, I feel like we need to just throw out the best secret agent movie ever made, which is Threat Level Midnight.
I've never heard of that.
What?
Craig's heard of it.
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
No.
It's an Office reference.
Oh, okay. That's why I have no idea what you're talking about.
That makes more sense. Okay. That vaguely rings a bell.
What vaguely rings a bell?
Threat Level Midnight. It's okay.
That's Michael Scott's his action-packed movie.
Right.
That he makes, that they dedicate a whole episode to for some reason. Speaking of dedicating a whole episode to, we're dedicating this episode to spy movies that aren't James Bond, and we are not doing a good job so far.
No,
Let's
we're
keep
not.
going.
Okay, I'm gonna move past Johnny English because that took way too long. The next on my list isn't Get Smart because I've never seen any of those, but is Mr. and Mrs. Smith with Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. That was just a good action film. I'm going to say fun again, which is what I'm going to say about a lot of these spy movies. I need to really look up another adjective for the word fun. But I enjoy amusing. Thank you, Craig. With my thesaurus abilities today are just not present at all. Anyways, I really like this one. I like the different concept of this. I like the idea of two people who are married didn't know that they were each working for a different spy or intelligence agency, and then having to end up killing each other. It seems like such a simple premise, but I was surprised the fact that it had never been done before. So I really enjoyed when this was done. And it kind of sucks that it broke up, what Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston, but that's not my problem. So
I stand by it.
Celebrities have everyone's got their own personal issues. Why do I have to care about celebrities?
Yeah, we got our own stuff to deal with.
Yeah, I got my own personal life. But Mr. and Mrs. Smith was still, again, an amusing time. Thanks, Craig, for helping me to get away from.
Here, you want me to pull up the thesaurus for you?
Maybe for this next one, which was I Spy, which was Eddie Murphy and Owen Wilson, another comedy spy movie. They end up having to team up because Eddie Murphy is a heavyweight boxer, some kind of famous boxer or something, and that's the only way they can get into. Owen Wilson can get into this other country to do something. I think that's a retrieve.
By being part of the entourage or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't remember. I haven't seen it in 10 years.
Yeah, I think that they retrieve an invisible jet, to be honest, and so it's in Russia or somewhere. I might be stereotyping, but
I had it on my list because I remember watching it and knowing it was good, but I honestly couldn't tell you what the hell it's about.
Yeah, it's been 15 years since I've watched it.
It is about a professional athlete has to help a U.S. government agent recover a missing jet. Thank you, IMDb, for your very lengthy synopsis.
I'm pretty sure we just covered
all those things.
I know.
They didn't even cover
the
fact that it's an invisible jet. It's Eddie. He's a boxer, I believe. He's some kind of fighter. I'm pretty sure it's boxing because this was pre-MMA being big. But yeah, it was an enjoyable time. I really like the dynamic. Yeah, it was
fun.
Scott, was it convivial?
I don't know what that word means.
Was it witty?
It means fun.
Yes.
I wouldn't say witty. It was
was it pleasant, entertaining?
It was Eddie Murphy's type of funny. Entertaining, I would say. Yeah, it was a good time. It's not the most serious movie, and you got Eddie Murphy at I would say at the end of his prime, just as he's going just past his prime, as he was heading downhill before he hit Haunted Mansion and everything after that. Because Haunted Mansion was the last movie I've watched of his. Unless this came out after it, which then this would be. But yeah, this one was fun. I like the dynamic between Owen Wilson and Eddie Murphy. They're very opposites in it, and it was fun. That's all I got to say about that.
So before you move
on, that's all I have to say about that.
Just because everything else Scott has brought up, almost everything Scott has brought up on his list, has also been has either been redone or has another thing of the same name. I Spy was a television series between 1965 and 1968 starring Bill Cosby as one of a pair of intelligence agents posing as a tennis pro and his coach that went on secret missions around the world. And now you know.
No, I knew that. I was avoiding the Bill Cosby topic.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Next on my list is another spy movie that's based off of an old TV show, The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Just so we get that out. The Man
so
from
that I don't have to go looking for it.
Yeah, with what's his face, Tom Hardy.
Yeah. No. Army Hammer and our Batman, not Batman, Superman. Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill. And
Man, you know what? I'm thinking of a different thing with.
Yes, you are.
With him, yeah.
You're thinking something war. Where
something like that.
Him and another dude fight over.
It's him twice, yeah.
It's him and another dude. No, it's him and another dude who fight over. Who looks exactly. It's Chris Pine. Yeah, him and Chris Pine fight over Reese Witherspoon, and they're both spies who work for different spies agencies. But that's not what I was talking about. I was talking about The Man from U.N.C.L.E., which I don't remember a whole lot about, but I do remember enjoying a new like a new franchise or new entrance into the spy genre at the time, and I really liked seeing Henry Cavill as a spy, and they dressed very well. That's all I got to say about that, to be honest.
And that's all I gotta say about that.
My favorite spy movies are the James Bond ones, and to be honest, this was a stretched list for me. Okay, guys.
This was a topic that I was excited to do because I thought it was going to be fairly straightforward.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk
and then
about
sitting down to do it, I was like, shit.
Yeah.
What are spy movies?
Yeah. What are spy movies without James Bond, to be honest?
Yeah.
But there are a couple more. The last two I have are both kid spy movies. Agent Cody Banks and the Spy Kids. That. So I stole Craig's only one.
Come on, man.
That's my way
fine.
of
I'm gonna talk about something else on my turn.
That's my way of transitioning to you, Craig. Though I'm gonna talk about Agent Cody Banks, then you got to take over for Spy Kids.
Oh no, I can't take over for Spy Kids. I was just gonna say
it. That's fair.
Danny Trejo would be very disappointed.
Craig, have you Machete would cut me to pieces.
Have you ever seen the Agent Cody Banks
He'd
movies?
kick your Antonio Banderas ass.
You have, Craig. I'm glad.
I have seen Agent Cody Banks.
These are how I was introduced to what's his name? Muniz?
Yeah.
Frankie Muniz?
Is it Frankie Muniz? I thought it was Frankie, but I was like, is it Frankie? I thought he has some middle name in there too, but that might just be Malcolm in the Middle messing with me.
I think you're thinking Malcolm, yeah.
Yeah. But I never really watched Malcolm in the Middle till after I'd seen Agent Cody Banks. Because I enjoyed the idea of a kid spy movie, and I thought they did a really good job of balancing yes, it's ridiculous that we'd have kids be spies, but also like playing it off as, but this is how it works in this world. Like, you know what I mean? Like they didn't ignore it, but they also didn't like, they hung a little lantern on there. Like, this is kind of very unrealistic, but we're all going to go with it for 2 movies. And it was kind of fun. Again, back to fun. But a funny spy movies, that's the only way to describe a funny spy movie, is they're fun. They're just, because you got the gadgets and stuff, but it doesn't ever go right because it's a comedy, right? And they had some pretty cool things.
They just get real lucky.
Yeah, they get dumb lucky, and it works out fine, and so it's entertaining. But Agent Cody Banks had some cool gadgets, and like I said, it was really just cool because this came out when I was younger. I think I was about the same age as Frankie Muniz at the time, so it was cool to see a spy movie that was a spy that was my same age, because it was kind of cool to think of, I was 10, I could go to a summer camp and maybe be a spy, but then I realized I live in Canada, we don't have spies.
I thought you were gonna say we don't have summer camps.
Yeah, that.
Well, there's that too. I've never been to a summer camp in my whole life. I assume they exist somewhere.
Upstate
Kansas?
New York.
Upstate New York.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. But like I said, the last thing was Spy Kids, which I stole from Craig. Again,
which I just found out or just realized that Antonio Banderas is in.
He's the dad.
I just made it. He's gonna kick your Antonio Banderas ass joke.
Yeah, and I didn't hear it.
God damn.
Who's the mom?
Who's the mom again?
Yeah, who's the mom?
It's,
I'm blanking on who she was.
She was in Sin City. You see her boobs.
And that's what's important here.
That doesn't help.
That's all I remember.
That doesn't help with Sin City, to be honest. I'm like, there's a lot of boobs in Sin City, I recall.
Not Eva Green. I think they're the only ones you actually see in the first one.
I haven't seen City in a few years. I've seen the second one more recently, because obviously it's more recent.
Yes, that makes sense.
Yes, but anyways, what were we saying? Spy Kids, right? Yes, these came out again when I was a kid, and it was cool to imagine myself as a spy, and they were enjoyable. It was really cool, imaginative ideas I thought they took with it, especially in the second one with the island, and then the third one with the 3D.
Yep, with Steve Buscemi.
Yeah, wait. Which one's Steve Buscemi?
Call back to last episode.
Steve Buscemi, he was the one on the island who makes the weird crossed animals, like the spider monkey.
Yes. He's the creator guy. Yes, they had really good villains in all 3 movies. Like the first one with what's his name? Something with an F. But
the guy with the mustache.
No, he didn't have a mustache. He had weird hair, I think.
Oh, Floop.
Floop, yes, Floop. Floop was the first one, and then the second one was.
And they spell Floop
with the F. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
thing.
there we go.
Yeah.
Hold up.
Floop.
Fuck. Yeah. Shit.
I can do the F. I can do the F.
Yeah.
I remember practicing as a kid because I really enjoyed those movies. Like again, they came out when I was around the same age as those kids
there we
in
go.
it. So.
Floop.
There you go.
Floop.
Yeah. With his thumbs as his
The thumb thumbs, yeah, who are all thumbs.
Who would have thought that Spy Kids would be the non-Bond spy movie that I'd have the most to say about? But I really enjoyed all three of them because the second one was awesome with all the freaking monsters on the island. I don't remember what else happened in that one, and I'm really curious now.
That one was where, oh man, the director is the bad guy,
Mm-hmm.
and then what's her name? I'm drawing a blank. She's gorgeous, Selma Hayek. There we go.
Okay, I thought she was
That's
in
his
one
wife.
of them. Yeah.
Yeah, she's in the second one and the third one.
Okay, yeah.
The third one is the video game one,
Yeah.
which was honestly that was one of the best movies I saw that year.
I remember loving that with freaking what was it? 4
Sylvester
Stallones?
Stallone?
Yeah, Stallone being just like, yo, someone just took Stallone and was like, yo, you can be the most you could ever want to be, and he's like, really? And they're like,
yeah,
I don't
he
have
doesn't even try to hide anything.
And it's he just goes all out, and it was great.
It was great.
It was the scientist version of him, the general version.
Yeah, just arguing with
himself. I don't know why I enjoyed those so much, but they were great.
Those three were so much better than the fourth one.
I feel like it was probably I agree, but all of them just have
the
a
time
special
one was
spot.
ridiculous.
They all have a special spot in my heart, just because they're really enjoyable. Was there a fourth one?
Yeah, the fourth
I
one
never
was
saw the fourth one.
the time one.
I never saw the
They're
fourth
trying
one.
to I forget who was in it. Jessica Alba, I know that. I think it might be Joel McHale actually.
I'm looking it up.
I did not see that one, so I can't speak to that one at all. It's not part of the three. The first three are the ones that hold special parts in my heart because I was still a kid when all those ones came
Spy Kids,
out.
all the time in the world 4D.
I would have been near the end of high school when the fourth one came out.
Yeah, 2011.
Yeah, so we would have been right in the middle. We'd been almost done high school when that one came out.
It was Joel
Jessica
McHale.
Alba and Joel McHale.
Yeah,
Jeremy
done.
Piven. I'm pretty sure he's the bad guy.
that sounds right.
Well, his character's name is Danger, so I mean...
Danger Diamo, TikTok,
And
Timekeeper.
Yeah, that seems
Timekeeper.
pretty... and Ricky Gervais is in it, too.
Yes, he is the voice of the robot dog, I believe.
That seems right.
I'll have to watch this one.
It
'cause
is
I've
not the
never
best.
seen it.
And Jessica Alba is very, very pregnant in it. I don't know if she's actually pregnant or if it's just her character was pregnant. But there was a point where she was very, very pregnant.
I think that was when she was actually pregnant.
I think it was at the beginning of the movie. Though.
That's
Oh, it
the
came out on my
only
birthday in
detail.
2011.
Happy birthday, Craig.
Happy birthday, Craig. The year we graduated, too. Jeez.
I thought we graduated the year before
Happy
that.
birthday,
Yeah, after that.
Mr. Craig Zidane.
No, I'm pretty sure we graduated. Nice movie reference. We graduated in 2011.
Yeah, I did an extra year. Anyways.
12 beat.
But
Anyways, what else is on your list, Craig?
yeah, since I took the
so
only
since-
thing on yours.
Since all of my list stuff got taken, I figured I would take this opportunity to talk about Get Smart, the TV series from 1965 to 1970, only because it was created by Mel Brooks.
Oh, damn.
There you go.
Interesting.
Yep. Mel Brooks makes an
The
appearance.
Schwartz was with him.
Exactly. Mel Brooks makes an appearance on my what I watched this week too. So
Okay, so that's why you wanted to bring that up.
not necessarily.
Nice.
It's
nice
not.
toss forward.
Yeah. Well, it's a teaser to keep the people hanging on.
Foreshadowing.
For those who stuck through that very, very tried attempt at my list.
So that's, I mean, like that's pretty much like all I could think of. You guys have reminded me of all the movies that I've seen, but I can't think of any that you guys are missing.
Well, I
that
know
I've
you've seen Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
That's not on my list, but nice.
Talk about
story
it. I know
yours.
you've seen it.
I have not.
You've totally seen it.
I have not.
I like what
I 100% know you've seen it
Did I watch
because
that?
we have talked about it.
he has to look it up to make sure he's seen it.
Yeah,
I know.
you watched it, man.
I know I haven't seen this because I remember I wrote this down as a spy movie that I wanted to get to eventually because it was more recent.
I might have.
I know you did because you told me to watch it.
Way to go.
Good to know
I think
one
I
of us
did.
pays
I
attention
can't-
to the movie.
I can't remember a damn thing about it, but I probably saw it.
This is what, Gary Oldman, isn't it?
Gary
think
Oldman,
so.
Mark Strong,
Mark Strong. That's why I wrote it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, Colin Firth, Benedict Cumberbatch.
All the good guys.
Yeah, this is totally up my alley. How come I can't remember that I watched it?
You've definitely seen it, man.
You know what? Yeah, I've seen it. I can't remember a damn thing about it.
It's recommended, though. We recommend it.
Yes, and I'm probably going to watch it now that I've seen it already, but I'm going to watch it again.
Now that I've refreshed your memory.
Yeah, and
you're going to watch it and you're going to feel like Spies Like Us.
Nice. I'm assuming that's the first one on your list.
Actually, that's the second one on my list.
Tinker
Tailor Soldier Spy was the first one, and I can't remember much about it myself, so I thought I would toss it to Craig and hopefully refresh both of them.
It was a great movie that I saw.
You guys keep saying this, and I have no idea what this movie is about.
Well, at least we're all allied on that fact, which is another spy movie
so
on my
I was
list.
going to that just before you threw in your list. I was going to ask if we wanted to have a debate about whether or not that qualifies as a spy movie.
I count it. They were.
Yeah, they technically.
They were undercover.
A spy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one?
Yeah. Allied,
the Brad Pitt one.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Came out the year before last.
Haven't seen it.
Yeah.
No?
Well,
it's a good movie.
Why was it questionable that then?
Because
for
it's
viewers
really
who also haven't seen it.
It's
They're
really
like military spy. He was a military spy.
It's like military
he wasn't a
intelligence.
spy necessarily because he was a pilot.
Pilot. Yeah.
Right? It was his wife.
British
that was the
or
spy,
American
and
Air Force officer.
It was
Was
Canadian.
it espionage?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Well,
they're kind of
it's
spies.
but it's
spoilers.
Not the, yeah. Well, I mean, are you gonna watch it, Scott? If
I'm
anybody
curious.
else doesn't want to, if anybody else doesn't want to know what the ending is like, just
Why do you have to tell me
skip
the
forward
some
ending
minutes.
to tell me about the movie?
Because that's how
No, you do.
Because
You
there
do.
is
That's
no
the whole movie, man.
There's really no spy references until the very end when you find out that she's the spy. Because all it is like, oh, there's a leak in the military.
Yeah, they suspect it's his wife, but they're not 100% sure.
And then they find out at the end that his wife's the spy, and then she does
it just
a thing,
sounds like
and then
like
the
an
movie's over.
espionage thriller or like a political thriller.
But it's not obvious. That's why I said it would be a debate, because it's kind of a war movie first. Kind of.
Yeah, that's probably why I didn't.
He wants to move to Saskatchewan or something like that.
Yeah, because he's
Who
Canadian.
Manitoba?
does it? I don't. But who
Somewhere in
does it?
Canada, anyways. He's American, working in Europe, who wants to move to Canada.
No, he's a Canadian. He's in the Canadian Air.
Is he
he's
Canadian?
in the Canadian Air Force.
Oh, I thought he was American.
No,
for some
he
reason.
wears Canadian patches the entire movie.
Yeah. Clearly, I was not paying attention to
So
that.
many movies we know nothing about.
I know.
Clearly. So no one wants to be spies like us.
Canadian intelligence.
Or spies
officer in North
reminiscent of
Africa.
us.
There you go. It is more of a spy movie than I remembered. Anyway, spies reminiscent of us.
That's a Family Guy trope off of Spies Like Us, the Chevy Chase / Dan Aykroyd movie
That's who it
from the
was.
80s.
I couldn't remember who the other guy was.
Yeah, I haven't seen this one either.
Shut up, 2476.
All I know is the Family Guy reference, Scott, so don't worry.
Yeah. So moving on, because
That's all that
I've
matters.
got all of the Bourne movies except
Yeah.
for the one with Jeremy Renner in it.
That's funny. I don't like any of the Bourne ones, to be honest.
I like Matt Damon. He can do a little bit of wrong, but not much.
Honestly,
in my books.
I'm just slightly biased to them because I tried watching the first one when the third one came out. So as the third one was coming out into theaters, I was like, okay, I should check out these first two to see if there's something I like. Pop the first one in. 45 minutes in, I was out like a light. I have never fallen asleep during a movie my entire life. I was out like a light. I recall waking up near the end of the movie confused because I was like, what happened? This has never happened to me before. Why is there I've never woken up with a movie on because I've never fallen asleep. It was a weird experience, and that kind of, I think, tainted me for the rest of them because I never watched them.
That is exactly what happened to me with Captain Phillips.
It took me years to watch Zorro all the way through, so clearly we all have our hang-ups on movies.
The Mask of Zorro?
Man, like literally, I was a kid, but I kept passing the fuck out.
That's hilarious.
Like I would
love that
watch the movie and then wake up the next day in my bed, and someone in my family managed to carry me upstairs, which is miraculous. Because even as a youngster, I was plus sized, But it took me years to finally watch that, like get all the way through.
And then they added the second one in, and that took another decade.
No, I saw that one, no problem. It was just the first Zorro, or not the first, but the first Antonio Banderas, Anthony Hopkins, Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Zorro movie, yes.
Zorro movie. I can't remember who the bad guy in that one was. I feel like I can picture his face, but anyways, that's not a spy movie. Point is, I liked the Bourne movies except the Jeremy Renner one.
What did you like? What do you like about the Bourne ones?
I just like that he happens to be a dude who like he's just got all these skills that just like pop into his head. He knows he's trained to do it, but like he's also not really thinking about it. It's just total muscle memory.
Yeah, it's muscle memory, kind of like flow zone.
Like where it starts off and he doesn't remember shit, and then he starts to remember it slowly and build his way back through. And he's like, "Well, fuck you guys. You guys try to off me. I'm gonna offer for you, playboy." And I like that.
That makes sense. And that kind of what intrigued me about it at first too. Like I like the idea of a spy who doesn't remember that he was a spy. But yes, like I said, I got tainted by the first one and my experience.
See, I don't like the idea of like there's a lot of tropes out there.
Oh yeah,
like trope movies out there, like the what was it? Not Michael Cera. It was the Jesse Eisenberg, I think it was, where he plays a spy, but like he's like a sleeper cell. I don't like the ones where they're trained to be spies and like have all these skills, but they don't know it until you use their code word.
Oh yes, okay, I know what you mean.
And they get activated. I don't like that trope. I like it where they have the skill and they're like, "What the fuck? Why is this happening?"
The instructions are in the usual place.
Not like it. Not that it's the same thing, but almost like. Man, I forgot the name of the movie. Moving on, because that reference had nothing to do with it either. It was just going to be like similar, but with a different genre. Keeping Up with the Joneses, because I'm going to try to say this right. Gal Gadot, because I have heard of 45,000 different ways. I know it's not Gadot. It's not Gadot. That's not how it's pronounced. I remember I watched a thing on YouTube about it once where she was doing the interview trying to explain how to say it. It's like Gadot, but it's not a hard like "t." It's like Gadot, but it's very light.
It's because you got to throw like an accent on. That's the end of it, and it's really hard to do her accent.
No, but you pronounce the T. Anyways, Gal Gadot, John motherfucking Hamm,
Zach Galifianakis,
Zach Galifianakis, and Isla Fisher,
Patton Oswald. I can't speak today. Matt Walsh. Jeez.
Yep, Isla Fisher, who's fucking stunning. It's a great movie. I watched it with my mom. She didn't want to watch it. We watched that shit anyways.
This looks like something I would really enjoy.
I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix. Pretty sure it's on Netflix. It's awesome.
I have to add stuff to my list now.
John Hamm is amazing, so like he gets
I love watching
free
him do
pass.
anything.
Yeah, but it is on Netflix. Just so you guys are aware.
Cool.
You could. Which also, now that I've mentioned that, it takes me to my another one of my favorite secret agent references, which is the Falcon.
I already made that reference.
Did you make that reference?
When you said you didn't like the things with the code words, I said the instructions are in the usual place, and I got crickets.
Damn. We're both missing our good references and our good jokes right now.
The listeners appreciated it. They were.
I'm hearing all of them, and I'm just going right over my head.
I know.
I'm like our listeners. Just what are these guys even talking about?
What the front door is happening right now?
Is that a spy movie?
Clearly, I can't keep up, which means I would not be very good at keeping up with the Joneses. So I better go ahead and hit that red light, which is my segue to my next movie, which is the Red movies with Bruce Willis,
how did I forget
Morgan
those?
Freeman, John Malkovich, and what's her name?
Helen Mirren. Did you say her already?
No, not Helen Mirren. Yeah, no, something.
Mary
Louise. Mary Louise Parker.
Yeah.
Is that it?
I think
the one who
the chick
from
the
one
Weeds.
from Weeds.
Yeah,
Weeds. Yeah. Nancy Botwin.
Yeah, we'll call her Nancy. It's a little easier for us. Nance. You know,
those movies are amazing, especially because
so
like
great.
it literally just seems like they're walking through it and just taking shit down.
And that's my favorite thing, like about any like formerly retired or retired secret agents, superheroes, anything. It's just when they get brought back into it, they've just they had done it for so long.
Like they don't even want to be back into it.
Get dragged back into it
Yeah.
because they were retired, so like they had to get dragged back into it, and it's just like, oh yes, now you just. But they're so experienced at everything that everything's just muscle memory. This is another day. I've done this 1,000 times. I've like Bruce Willis just hopping out of the car to shoot at people. That was one of my favorite scenes. I can't believe I forgot these movies. How are they not on my list? They're just I enjoy them so much. I love when retired people come back to kick ass. It's just my favorite thing. I don't know why. I just love that.
I feel like that's half of the Schwarzenegger movies, so that's probably why you like it.
That would explain a lot too, yeah. Like Commando.
That's it. Yeah.
It's so true though, because I just like that idea of just like they used to do it as a job, and then they retired because they were done.
And they tried to get away from the life,
but they were so good that they couldn't get left out of the life. And I'm like, yeah. That's how it is for some
Listen,
people.
John, we need you again. He's like, nah, I'm here with my kids. That's the thing. Your kid just got took. And then Liam Neeson's like, well, about to make 4 movies of this.
I've only seen the first one of The Takens.
Yeah, just leave it, man. Just
I
leave
was
it after the
planning
first
to.
one.
I was like, I get it. They're kidnapped. You have some skills. You're going to go get them back.
I think it's more of a movie about a very unfortunate family.
Yeah, the most unlucky family in the history.
History of all spy and espionage type movies in general. James Bond doesn't even have people kidnapped that often on him. They just die.
And that guy walks around announcing his full legal name.
Yeah.
Yep. The whole goddamn time. Well, he's got a very, very particular set of skills, so I guess he's not concerned.
I guess so.
Yeah.
So, moving on, I'm going to take an intermission from my list to hit you with 2 movies that are total what the fuck movies. One of them is Burn After Reading.
Yeah, I didn't like that one.
George Clooney, Brad Pitt.
Confused me. I don't even know what that's about.
So stupid.
It made no sense.
The next one is another George Clooney movie. The Men Who Stare at Goats.
I knew as soon as you brought up the first one that you were going to bring up that one. I'm like, is that one a spy one too? I guess it is.
They were undercover, yeah. They can jump through fucking walls. I know that.
A TV show from like the 50s or 60s, I think too.
The cast of The Men Who Stare at Goats, I look at it and I think, come on, guys, you were all A-list actors.
Both those movies are like that. Like Burn After.
Yeah, that's true. Brad Pitt, George Clooney,
and there's a few like other people in Burn After, but both of those are just quality cast, no sense of a plot movies. Like,
yep. You know what the only 2 things I remember from Burn After Reading are? The guy getting shot while trying to hide in the closet.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the super weird, creepy sex toy chair.
I only remember Brad Pitt like working out weirdly, or like doing weird stuff in like a workout outfit. And I don't know if was he a messenger in that? Like, was that what it like or something?
I can't remember. I think so. Maybe.
I feel like he was.
All I've seen from that are pictures, and this movie looks
outfit.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, don't watch it. I honestly couldn't tell you anything about it except I didn't enjoy it.
All I can tell you is someone gets shot in the closet. I couldn't tell you who. Someone gets shot in the closet.
Pitt.
Brad Pitt.
I think so.
And then they have the sex toy rocking chair where you rock in the chair and the female enjoying thing. Yeah. Like that's all I can tell you about that movie. And then The Men Who Stare at Goats. I'm pretty sure Ewan McGregor was a writer or something. Wasn't he? Worked for a newspaper.
Yeah.
And then he hooks up with these former secret agent dudes who can jump through walls, aka the Men Who Stare at Goats.
Yeah, I was so confused about this. I honestly have no idea. Like, you're telling me these things, and I'm like, yeah, I watched this movie. None of that stuck.
I think you came to the theaters with me to see it, didn't you? I think it was you, me, and Adam.
That, yeah. Probably back in grade 12 or 12B.
Ray might have been there. I remember being like super hyped about it because it was so pumped up and it looked so awesome. It looked
like a cool new spy
And then
film.
Walking out of the theater and going, what
happened?
The fuck?
Like, I honestly couldn't tell you any other movie that I'd gone to the theater, sat through the whole thing, and don't remember anything that happened after besides that movie.
Okay. Craig, I need you to pull up dates for me. Can you do that?
Yep.
When was The Men Who Stare at Goats in theaters, and when was Michael Jackson's This Is It in theaters?
It opened the 6th of November 2009 in the U.S. And this is
I believe it's grade 10 or 11, if I'm remembering correctly.
Somewhere in there.
I can't remember when we graduated.
2009. It opened the 28th of October, so within a week of each other.
Okay, yeah, so that's definitely what it was. Adam Carey and I went to see This Is It, and then we went to see The Men Who Stare at Goats afterwards. So at least one of the movies was good for me.
Okay, I definitely wasn't with you guys that time, because I have not seen the Michael Jackson movie.
No, it was just me and Adam who went to see the Michael Jackson one.
Oh, okay.
Just me and Adam, and then we went with other people to see The Men Who Stare at Goats. I just can't remember who. I thought you were at The Men Who Stare at Goats.
I remember potentially being in the theater, because in high school I went to the theater way too much. Like, I should have saved all that money. Man. No, I should have saved that money. I could have paid for college, but I got a cinematic education instead through Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Star Wars, and all these spy movies apparently too.
Well, some of them.
Some of them. Didn't make it through all of them.
Don't want to pour any salt into that open wound.
Nice way to...
That's my that's my segue.
Was she a spy?
To the movie Salt.
Was she a spy in that? I haven't seen that movie.
She worked for the CIA or something, did she?
I don't know. I didn't see that movie. I've been meaning to.
It was some type of intelligence agency.
Let me look it up.
You're the one who put it on your list.
I thought it was a spy movie. She has all these secret skills and like knows how to do shit.
I thought she was like
salt.
a semi-superhero.
Table salt or comments. Nope, wrong one.
You gotta put film at the end of that, man. You can't just search salt.
It was a joke.
Sodium. Nope.
It was a joke.
So dumb. It was funny.
Thank you.
I was trying to get on to it.
Evelyn Salt is accused of being a Russian sleeper agent, goes on the run to try to clear her name. Spy movie.
There we go.
Okay, so she's
accused
of being a spy,
Yeah, and it's Liev Schreiber in it, and he also gets a free pass from me because anything Ray Donovan does, he can get away with because that dude scares the shit out of me.
Did you know Salt was
also
originally written with Tom Cruise as the lead?
I didn't know that. I would never in the history of movies watch that movie.
No.
I think that's just Jack Reacher, wouldn't it be?
Just imagine
Jack Reacher isn't a spy. He's retired military police.
Which is a difference.
Is there?
I'm kidding. I was kidding.
I was joking too.
Major difference.
I'm sure there's differences. Somebody else can care about them.
Yeah.
But Andrew, what's next on your list? Because I know nothing about Salt.
Okay, the next I have on my list, it's not technically a spy movie, but they do go undercover. I got Zoolander.
That's a spy movie for me.
That's not a spy movie.
That's a spy movie for me. Zoolander 2 is a spy movie.
There we go. 100%.
That one is secret agents from Interpol.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a spy movie.
Okay, sure.
Zoolander's a bit of a stretch, but Zoolander 2 is a spy movie.
The files are in the computer.
They're in the computer.
Well, it's just calling those two spies just degrades the name of spy for everybody else.
Hey Craig, that's Blue Steel, right?
I can't remember the line. I wish I could.
What are you, a fucking idiot? Right, which worked perfectly because that's the actual line.
I know. That's why I was laughing.
Blue Steel.
It's Magnum. It's beautiful.
He's still so hot right now. Anyway, Zoolander 2, I guess I will amend it to. I count that as a spy movie.
All right.
2-Lander? Or 2-0-Lander?
2-0-Lander.
Just on to the next one.
That's it for my list.
We could do that
have
all
a need
night,
to see,
Scott.
which is Spy Games. I need to see that. Which, now that I mentioned that, Brad Pitt isn't too many spy movies that are forgettable.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't.
I'm pretty sure a third of our lists have been Brad Pitt movies. I know he was in at least 3 of mine, plus Spy Games.
I don't think he was in...
With Robert Redford.
I don't know if he was in any of mine, to be honest. But, shall we move on to what did we watch this week, then?
Might as well.
I guess we shall.
Should I start it?
What did we watch this week?
Okay. So I watched, as usual, we finally, because the Olympics are starting to slow down and go away, I'm getting my superheroes back. Yeah, but there's less of the stuff. There's not as many events as
they're done now.
Are they officially done? I wasn't sure.
Yeah, it's Paralympic Games now.
Okay, so perfect. That means I get all my superhero shows are coming back. So I've watched Legends tomorrow, Black Lightning. I just finished watching Flash before we started watching the show. So those are my usual week-to-week stuff, and I'm so happy that they're back to have week-to-week for at least another month maybe, and then they'll be gone again because that's how they roll. Dicks.
Yeah, because they just like to piss us off.
Yeah. But what else I watched was I finally watched The Good Place, and I watched that whole thing last Saturday. And
okay, tell us how much you appreciated that.
I get why you guys were so obsessed with it. It was really funny. It was really enjoyable.
Good.
It is really
It sucks
good.
you in without actually giving you anything.
It gave me nothing, but that's what made me want to stay in it because I was like, wait, I want an answer. They didn't answer nothing. Nothing got answered till the last episode.
Literally the last 5 minutes.
And then they erase it all.
Watch,
and then they erase it all too.
You don't even want to. You don't even want another season of it. That's it.
No,
it's
the perfect end. Keep it short, sweet.
It would ruin it if they added another season.
I think they have another season, to be honest. I think it's on TV.
I think they started it and then it got canceled because they realized it was perfect.
Because you see, with the twist at the end, you can't dilute that because as soon as you go back into it again, the whole thing's gone.
Well, see, I'm not saying they go back in necessarily, but I feel like you still have some answers, some questions you could answer. You could leave it at that. That they're in the bad place and they torture. Oh, spoiler alert for the show.
Spoilers. Here's what they could have done to fix the show, though. I'm going to say this. Episode 1, which is the pilot, which I know they change a lot of stuff after the pilot quite frequently, but they make a point to say that Chidi is actually speaking French.
Yep.
And that Eleanor, right? That's her name? Eleanor?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Eleanor Schlidstrom or something like that. Fake Eleanor. She hears Chidi speaking English because that's the language she understands.
Yeah.
But then they do some
the
flashbacks later on where Chidi's talking to the guy who has the cowboy boots, who is clearly somewhere from down under.
Yeah.
I think he might have been New Zealand, but I didn't want
to
to.
be one of the two.
He was from there or Australia, somewhere down under. And he spoke English, so I was like, "How do you speak French with an Australian accent?" And I couldn't compute.
I didn't think about that, to be honest, because it was such a one-off thing they say in the first episode to explain why they all speak the same language that I'm just like, I never think of it again, to be honest.
And then they make a point of saying that what's her face, Dahani, who is stunning, by the way. I had never seen her in anything before. Apparently she's in a lot of British stuff. She's a very good-looking woman.
Yeah, I've never seen her before.
But they make a point of saying that she's faking it because she has the accent.
Yeah.
So it just threw it off even more for me.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you about that.
But I pay attention for little shit like that.
That's a little too in depth for my detail. Pay attention. I've made dinner while I watched it too. But
I also like Janet. She was awesome.
Janet was hilarious.
Yes, I thought
just like bad Janet.
Yeah, it was just a well-crafted show. Like all the characters were really well written, I felt, and they all got to I felt like everyone was having a good time on that set. Like, nobody was having too serious. It didn't seem like they were having hard work days. They were just enjoying themselves. Nothing was taking more than 1 or 2 takes because that was kind of what it was. That was the kind of relaxed atmosphere it felt like, and I really enjoyed it.
It seemed like it could have been ad-libbed the whole goddamn time.
It wouldn't surprise me if a lot
of
it
Janet,
was.
100% had to have been ad-libbed.
Yeah, and
that seems to be typical of a Michael Schur show, though.
Yeah, there's
true.
certain directors and creators that really go that way, and I like it. Like with Taika Waititi does that, a very similar type of thing.
Yeah,
and I enjoy that kind of like improvising, not like improvising the entire thing, but like giving your actors the freedom to like interpret certain lines, so it's not word for word what was on the script, but they convey the message in the way that they feel that the character would do it. And to me, that always seems the most realistic and like the best characters like. The characters who do that are just generally my favorites, is what I meant by that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But yeah, so The Good Place. I watched all that. I would recommend it to anybody who hasn't checked it out because it was really funny and just you kind of get sucked in, like you said, because it's just good.
Well, Ted Danson is the reason to watch the show. The rest of it is just gravy.
It's fair enough. So what else I watched was the Joel McHale show. Is that how you say
Yes.
His name? Yep. Yeah, so I checked out the first 2 episodes, and I really love that guy. This one is even
Love
just
and
as
Hip
good.
Hop is my new favorite TV show.
I can imagine. So that seems your style, Craig.
I'm never gonna actually watch it, but it's my new favorite TV show.
I know what you mean. Yes, and it reminisced me back to his days of doing The Soup. But even better, I love the fact that they riff on the Netflix jokes so much, and it's like that the Netflix boom come up every time he says it. I just love that little gimmick. It's cool little, the cameos that he's had so far, like the different celebrities that have popped in. And I really like the end credits song because it's very on point.
It's so catchy.
You told me that, and then Craig and I talked about it on Sunday.
And I was like, we need that same style for our end credits for this podcast, in my opinion.
I'm game. Craig, make it happen. Chop, chop.
All right. I'm going to have to watch a bunch of it so I can be reminded. It's just so catchy.
It's great. It's nobody listens to this credits at the end, it was great, and I'm really excited that it's coming out. I kind of wish it was like a twice a week show maybe, but keeping it to once a week's fine, I guess. But as long as he sticks around.
Netflix turning us back into regular TV watchers again.
Well, see, my problem never was
no binge watching. Have all of it one week at a time.
Well, I kind of like that balance. Like, I like a little bit of the balance, though, because, like, I wouldn't like this show as much if I got, like, a whole season to binge watch. Like, I like having it, like, it's a nice little thing to pop up, because I would get a little tired of it, Like, I like it as, like, maybe not his.
Well, it's very repetitive.
Plus, it's what happened that week, right?
Exactly, right? So it's like
it's very repetitive. It's no Big Mouth.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a sitcom, obviously. And so, like, that's how I feel the same way about Taj.0, right? Like, I've never been able to go rewatch or binge watch Taj.0. I've only ever watched it when it's, like, popped on something back when I used to have television. But I don't have television anymore, so... or cable, I should say. I have a television, I just don't have cable.
Netflix, Crave, you win.
Yes, and Amazon Prime for the last couple months. Because I'm on a free trial still. But yeah, Amazon Prime Video does awesome. But anyways, I really enjoyed that. What else did I watch this week? I watched Captain America: The Winter Soldier, which people can check out the video that's on our YouTube channel about that. And I also watched 2 James Bonds this week. 2 James Bond movies this week because I'm trying to make my way through all of them in the next 3 weeks so that we can do our James Bond episode. I watched Goldfinger and Thunderball, and they just both, again, I would have to say Sean Connery is probably one of my favorite James Bonds, especially his movies in particular. They're just really...
I think it's because they're probably the first ones we sat down and watched, right? Like, I know that's why he's my favorite Bond.
I don't know if it was for me. Like, 'cause I think I watched most of these when I came into high school, actually. Because when I was growing...
Oh, really?
Because when I was growing up, I remember watching the Brosnan ones for the most part, because they were the new ones as I was...
That's right. Those were the 90s,
exactly, right? So those were the ones that my grandpa and my dad would have had around the house when I was growing up. So those are the ones I remember more, but rewatching these ones I'm remembering more, and I'm like, yeah, I've definitely seen these before, and I just really enjoy them. Sorry, listeners.
Robitussin.
Just trying to hold that in. Anyways, Thunderball and Goldfinger, really enjoyable. I like the kind of like the outrageousness of some of the like situations they'll put Bond into. Like Thunderball has like 20 minutes of an underwater scene of them just like a bunch of dudes in like scuba gear fighting it out, and there's barely, like, a very quiet set of music and no dialogue for those 20 minutes. And I'm just like, no movie would be able to do this nowadays, but the fact that James Bond used to do it, I just love it. Like, I'd be okay with a movie doing it again if they did it, I feel like, as well as James Bond did it, because I felt it was just well shot.
Oh, for sure.
And it kept it, like, the action, like, it was almost like a silent movie for you, like, and I guess that was probably what kind of contributed to it a little bit, like, to the influence to it, I should say, like the way it was shot. But I really enjoyed that about it. So yeah, anyone who hasn't watched any of the Sean Connery ones should go watch them. They're all on Crave TV.
I thought you were gonna say kill yourself.
No, I'm trying to avoid that. I told people to kill themselves a lot last week.
Yeah, it's true. We did tell people to die last week.
It was pretty bad. I felt a little bad, kind of, except I get angry. So hopefully people don't naturally go kill themselves. Anyways, next on my list, I watched a whole season of Ash vs. the Evil Dead on Netflix. The whole first season was on there.
Okay.
And I binge watched that on Sunday. And it was probably one of my new favorite shows. I've never seen the Evil Dead or the Army of Darkness movies, which is what this show is based off of, or a continuation of. But this show was just so funny, outrageously ridiculous, just wacky fun. Just Bruce Campbell being the most Bruce Campbell a Bruce Campbell can be, and it's fun. I would recommend it to anybody who knows who Bruce Campbell is to start with. If you know who that guy is, then if you're aware of his kind of cult status, or I guess cult status would be the way to put it, then you'd really enjoy this show. I wouldn't call it a zombie show because they're just evil dead things. Like, the name is spot on. The dead things coming back, which kind of sounds zombie-ish, but they're just a little bit more evil than that. Like, they're not just zombies because they've got like demonic kind of possession to them. So it's just really funny.
That show used to be on Spike or something too, wasn't it? Like, it used to be on TV.
I think it's still on AMC, I think.
Maybe that's what it was.
Stars.
It was on something.
Stars.
Star.
Yeah, because I remember now the front, the title card for it was Stars. Yeah, so I think it's still on Stars. I think there's 3 seasons in total, or the 3rd season's on TV right now. So I'm hoping the 2nd season will get added to Netflix soon, because I really enjoyed it. It had some really great one-liners. That was one thing I wrote down. It's just cheesy, but like great at the same time, one-liners. And so I really enjoyed that. But the only other thing I watched was I started to watch the second half of the Tick show, because they added 6 more episodes of that.
They did.
Yes.
Well,
so I kind of jumped the gun, I guess, 2 months ago or a couple weeks ago when you
were complaining about it.
that it was only 6 episodes
with the cliffhanger.
And I was gonna have to wait a year. I had to wait like a month and a half apparently. So I only just started that. I've watched 1 or 2 episodes. But I enjoyed the Tick. I kind of don't like that they split it up though, because I'm not feeling as getting back into it as I did when I was watching the first 6 episodes. So it's taking me a little bit to get back into it. It's probably 'cause I'm so into all these spy movies right now. But I'm gonna get back to finish watching that 2nd season. But that's all I watched this week. What did you guys watch?
Well, I went to see Black Panther again, and let me tell you, the experience was much better than the first time.
That's good to hear.
For those of you who don't know what the hell I'm talking about, go listen to episode 20 and you'll find out about the worst movie experience
Listen to
ever.
Me scream and tell people to die.
Yep.
It was
Multiple
a very
times.
heated episode. We all got a little bit
It was.
emotional.
It rolled
That's
over
true.
into a rant video I made the next day.
That's true, because we were very passionate about people dying.
Yes.
Anyway, so I saw Black Panther, and it was pretty good still the second time. So found a couple plot holes with it. Found a couple things that had nothing to do with the story. It was just I noticed the filming errors made. So I was like, like for instance, there's a certain point in the movie after some events happen, and T'Challa's talking to Lupita Nyong'o's character, and they're sitting there talking, and he looks over at her directly, and I noticed there's a chunk missing out of his mustache on the left side. Just a dip. Just a dip. One of those things no one but me would notice. But then I spent the rest of the movie looking for that dip to see which scenes were filmed at that time and which ones were corrected or which ones were the first ones. And there's multiple different versions of his beard in that movie, which took me out of it a little bit.
Yeah, I could see how that would take you, a barber, out of a movie with facial hair that does not stay in continuity.
He's the king of a country. He can afford a good barber who's not going to nick his mustache like that.
I like
That's
that
all
we're
I'm saying.
talking about a mustache in a Marvel movie. Considering
course,
that we've talked about a mustache in a DC movie.
Yes, that is very true.
Yeah, but
That
they
is
did
very
try
true.
to cover
The
this one
irony.
up.
No, they just figured
That's
nobody would
true.
be. They figured their diehard fans aren't bright enough to find it.
That one.
Yeah, well,
spot.
Marvel, I caught that shit. I found your mustache fuck up. I found it, players. I got you. Send me
I'm
money.
gonna start the controversy online about that.
Yeah.
You know, Black
Yep.
Panther mustache gate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, at least DC had the common sense to try to CGI over it. You guys didn't.
You think we're so dumb that you just, left it in?
Pull this over us.
Can't notice.
Yeah.
Pull the
a
cowl
neck
over us.
and a mustache.
I
Come
think that it would be funnier though if DC just left the mustache in,
They should have.
And
But,
then
like,
tried to explain it.
And I would have liked if they didn't explain it. Just everybody had to like be like, why did he have a
Just
mustache?
Everybody had to
Mustaches.
go, oh, shit.
Why is there a mustache? Well, see, there's
Oh, man.
there's comic book precedents for Superman having a mustache, so he could have had a mustache. Well, it was a beard, but a
I
beard and
always
a
stood by
mustache
it.
is the same thing, almost. Such the way Henry Cavill's was.
I feel like he can grow. I feel like he can grow a beard quickly.
Like
Just
4
grow the
days.
goatee and pretend. Yeah, just grow the goatee out and pretend he's the Mexican raised version of Superman from or Justice League Gods and Monsters.
I wasn't thinking that. I was thinking, when he dies in the comic books and comes back, he just had a beard and a mullet because
That's
that's
true.
what happens
Why
when you
the hell
don't.
not?
Because when you don't shave for a month, you'll have a beard. Especially if you're Superman, he's got juices running through him.
Yeah, that's true.
This is completely off topic. What else did you watch this week?
I watched Black Lightning.
Nice, same.
I finished episode 5. I realized I only got like 3/4 of the way through, so I finished the episode. I also watched 7 Pounds because sometimes you need to watch a movie and cry like a little bitch. Because every time I watch, because every time I watch that movie, I cry like a little bitch.
What's in the box?
What? Oh, you're thinking of the movie 7.
Did you say 7 pounds? Damn it! Yeah.
Seven
I got those
7
mixed
Pounds,
up.
the Will
Yeah.
Smith movie.
I haven't seen 7 Pounds. That's why I've only seen half of it.
Oh man,
I've only seen
that one
half
makes
of
me
it.
cry like a little bitch.
Oh, I definitely got those mixed up. Yeah, no, I know the difference
The
now.
movie
I don't-
7.
I know. I just when you said 7 pounds, I thought 7. I don't know why. I just put those
Kevin
together.
Spacey being a super fucking creepy
that's
dude.
That's not what's in the box. He's the jelly. 7 pounds is jellyfish and organ
Jellyfish, yes.
donation.
Yeah, where he dies and donates it to Woody Harrelson, and oh man.
Yeah, I never made it that far.
And then they all meet and then talk because they've all got his body parts, and I'm like, what? Don't do this. Why? No, they were fine. Just live.
Why couldn't Will stay alive?
Why is this happening? Why couldn't you have killed your brother? He sucks.
What's in the
Yeah.
box? Damn it! I went the wrong
box?
way again. Damn it!
Damn it. Okay, so the other movies or other things I watched this week, I went and saw The Post, which made it to Campbellford,
Nice.
based off the Washington Post movie, pre-Watergate.
I'm not getting any of this
Not to be
stuff.
confused with the Watergate movie, unfortunately.
No, not to be
But
confused.
that was Frost Nixon anyway, so
Yeah. No, the Post, Scott, is based around how I forget what they call it, the Pentagon Papers, I think they called
Oh
it.
yeah, okay.
Were released during NAM, saying that the government realized they were going to lose, and they were just a bunch of pusses who didn't think
They didn't want to admit
they
it.
they could handle like pulling out and admitting defeat. So and then the newspaper released it, and then it went to court because the government said, "Oh, you guys can't say that," and they're like,
freedom of
"It's kind of
speech.
our it's your First Amendment. It's kind of our right, and it's our jobs to say that."
First
so
rule
drop
we
dead.
came up with as a country.
Yeah, yeah, literally the first rule we
Well,
read
no,
through
it's
everything and said,
it's the
"Oh,
first
shit."
change to the rule.
Yeah, well, that's the thing when they read through and they're like,
First
"Oh
Amendment,
fuck,
right,
we need to
yeah.
add this."
Yeah,
Amendment.
yeah, because it's an amendment to the it's an
Constitution.
amendment to the Constitution.
So it
Anyways,
was an amazing movie. Tom Hanks is in it. I was very glad to see that it was a fantastic movie, and Tom Hanks kills it after hearing about the 1517 to Paris and finding out that my man, what's his name? Cowboy guy. Dirty Harry.
Clint
the
Eastwood.
director.
Clint Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood. Drawing a hard blank on that one. And I was finding out that he botched that movie. I needed Tom Hanks to come back and fix it for me because they both
So you
always
Man,
make good
so you
stuff.
enjoyed the post?
I'm
then?
looking through the
Love the post.
cast
That's
for
good.
this.
I've heard mixed reviews about that. Like I've heard a lot of like
No,
Oscar
the
buzz.
cast for the cast for the post was so many people I never thought I'd see involved in it,
Meryl
playing
Streep,
serious
Tom
roles.
Hanks, Bob Odenkirk, who's a
Yeah,
comedy
who
actor.
plays Saul in Better Call Saul.
Yeah,
slash,
David Cross, who is a comedy
yep.
actor. Zach
he
Woods,
plays a very serious role.
Allison Brie. Yeah.
Allison Brie is a babe. She's not in it very much.
No.
It's got the chick from man, I can't remember her name. I can picture her though. She was in American Horror Story.
I'm not gonna be able to answer that.
It's not really relevant.
Anyways, that's the only thing I know her from. but it's a really good movie. I highly suggest seeing it.
Okay, I'll definitely have to check it out.
Other than that, I watched Mad Men.
Nice.
Watched a season of that because it's awesome.
Yes, it is.
And every time I watch it, still good.
It's a really good rewatchable show, I find. Like I've rewatched it a half dozen times at least since it's finished, and maybe not since it's finished, but since it started, I definitely rewatched it a bunch of times. And
well, I like that it's accurate to what's going on at in the eras that it's taking place, and then you get so many different political opinions from the people trying to catch up with the times. Some people are stuck in the old ways, and like you see everything, and it really is how it was.
Yeah,
like
it's really dynamic.
Not that I was there, but like seeing people who are the age that was around there, I can pick up on the fact that that's exactly how it was.
Yeah, it does seem very realistic in that sense, and its take. Like it doesn't seem like it's trying to like code over some of those issues. It definitely speaks to like
they tackle them head on. Like they write that shit right into the story,
which is what's really enjoyable. Like it's really like about the characters and the plots and the world they're in, and I really enjoy it. It's a great show.
And Don Draper's the fucking man.
He is the man. We all aspire. Like
the man.
He's up there with James Bond in my mind. Like as just the man of man's man.
Don Draper is the manliest guy on the face of the planet, and he loves so much.
Oh yeah.
He is a very flawed individual, but he loves everyone
I connect
so
well with him,
much.
Being a flawed individual.
Which leads me into my next macho ass motherfucker, which is I watched the 5th season of Ray Donovan.
I haven't watched any of that yet. I've been meaning to.
The second last season, it's so damn
What's
good.
it about?
Scott.
So it's a dude. I get that. What else?
He's a problem solver for the stars. I think we've talked about this. He's a problem solver for the stars who he is literally
cool.
His job is to clean up fuck ups. So like they get busted snorting coke, he cleans up the issue. They kill someone by accident, he cleans up the issue.
That sounds interesting.
And like he's from Boston. Brought it back to Boston. We've had a long stretch that wasn't Boston related. Now that I think of it,
a couple episodes at least,
and yet it keeps coming back.
Always comes back.
Boston strong.
But no, it's a great show. Highly recommend.
I think it's on Crave TV, so I'll definitely have to check it out sometime.
Probably. I bought all 5 seasons.
Of course.
Because
you're a DVD collector.
I love that shit. Yep. Surrounded by it.
Yes, sir.
But that's all I watched this week. It was a slow week for me. Going back home, visiting my folks. Didn't take my laptop or anything with me, so we didn't watch much.
That's fair. So, Craig, what did you watch this week then?
So my week was incredibly light. We already talked about the Joel McHale show, starring Joel McHale. Yeah. So I'm not going to go on to that. I got back into watching The IT Crowd, mostly because I tried to watch The Cloverfield Paradox, and I can't.
That's fair.
Too much.
It's not that, like, I'm sure I could handle the plot line, and I would love to handle the plot line, but I can't handle the freaking physical part of it. Like it's not that far into the movie. The part where they find the girl in the wall and nobody's asking questions and she's got wires running through her body, and then like right after they finish with that, there's the guy with his eye that moves, and like that's when I shut it off, and I was like, Chris O'Dowd was in this. I'm gonna watch The IT Crowd, and that's how I got there.
Makes sense.
So yeah,
I still haven't gotten to any of the Cloverfields.
It's an entertaining sitcom, is The IT Crowd.
Yeah, I know. I've heard good things about it. I'm not a big sitcom guy.
Yeah, well, it requires you to be a fan of sitcoms and to be able to handle British humor, and
sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. Like the British Office, I've never been able to sit through either. I'm just like,
I liked the British Office.
I don't like Ricky Gervais. That's my thing.
He's very hit or miss for me too. Like I'm just like some days
I don't mind him in some stuff, but I don't like him being the main character.
Yeah, he can be a lot. He's intense. He can be intense.
Like even the one Family Guy episode where he plays the dolphin.
Oh yes. Yeah, that was
Billy. I think his name was Billy the Finn.
Couldn't tell you.
Yes, Billy the Finn.
Yeah, like even that, like it was too much. Like he just seems like he thinks he's the funniest guy on the face of the earth, and I'm like, you're like Lewis Black level. I can listen to you briefly.
Yeah, I agree with that. You can only listen to it in English
so I watched
so long.
I watched that. We'll just let the ambulance
typical
Will
stuff.
die.
Yeah,
and
typical.
then
You know we're getting near the end of the night when.
When Will dies, yep.
so the last thing I'm going to talk about, and this is how, for those of you who are paying attention, keeping score on your scorecards at home, will find the tie-in from earlier in this episode. I finally watched Robin Hood Men in Tights.
There we go.
Yeah, and there's your Mel Brooks.
And what did you
tie-in.
think?
I loved it.
There we go. About damn
Still
time.
haven't watched that.
You should. It's
Craig sent me a
hilarious.
Snapchat of some
Yeah.
guys in tights, and I was like, that Robin Hood Men in Tights?
Dave Chappelle's in it, Scott.
That's interesting.
Yes, he is.
That's,
He plays Little John, doesn't he?
No. What's his
No?
character's name in that? No, it was something. I can't remember. Just a second. Yeah, you should watch
Carrie
it.
Elways is in it.
Yes,
He's
he
the main
is.
character.
So is Mel Brooks.
Mel Brooks.
Not the main character, but he's in it. Richard Lewis is in it. Achoo is Dave Chappelle's character's name. Obviously.
Achoo.
Achoo.
Obviously.
okay,
Obviously.
then.
Patrick
I've never
Stewart's
heard
in it.
of that character's name.
Oh, it was made up. There's also a character named Sneeze.
That makes sense. A chew and a sneeze. Yeah,
Yep.
I'm sure they had a bit together.
There's a character's. Yeah, they did. You better believe they did. There's a character who's.
I can tell you this whole movie right now, and I've never seen it.
It's a Mel Brooks film. What do you
Yeah,
want?
I know it's Spaceballs with Robin Hood instead.
Yeah,
Yep, yep.
it's so worth
I
it.
know. Yeah, I'll get maybe.
Watch it.
There's a
I
character
demand
whose name is
satisfaction.
Latrine.
Watch it.
Her name is Latrine, but it used to be.
I'll get to it
way
eventually.
worse.
It might be on Netflix, so who knows?
It is on
Yeah,
Netflix.
I know.
It,
I
yeah,
know it is.
I watched it.
I'll get to it eventually, maybe. There's so many things to watch. Is that all you watched, though, Craig?
Yeah, that's it.
That's everything. So that's like a
That's-
Well, guys,
That's the only things worth. The only things worth talking about.
well, I just want to say you're welcome to all our loyal listeners out there for producing 21 episodes of content and keeping this one moderately short compared to some of our previous ones.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening this week, guys. Have a good one.
Burn after listening.
Bye.